Okay, so what we're going to talk about today is our approach to digital modernization. And specifically, just to level set what we mean by digital modernization, usually what we're saying is that the IT and the business have gotten together and realized that the current IT operations, currently what they're doing within the software world, is not able to meet the needs and the goals of the business, right? So it's usually something like we're not able to innovate fast enough. Our competitors are eating our lunch, right? We're not able to bring to market these new capabilities that we want to meet our overall, business needs. So the two key things from our experience with successes and failures are there's two things that are critical for doing a successful modernization. So the first is it needs to be value driven. And the second aspect of it, and I'm just going to say data, but I'll explain that in a minute, is that when we say data, we need to make sure that the new stuff that we are doing is able to live alongside all of your existing software so you can be providing new value to the bottom line of your business while still keeping the lights on, doing the things and supporting the things that you need to do day to day. So the first thing we'll talk about is what do we mean when we say value driven? So I think a common mistake with a lot of modernization efforts are they try to look at, okay, what are all of the things in our ecosystem that are outdated, legacy, old, or getting in the way of innovation? And we try to do that all at once. It's a very natural way to think about it, right? It's very easy to picture, here are the problems, here's what new world looks like, let's go build a new world, right? But the problem with that is ultimately those take too long, they go over budget, and you're not getting the value that the business needs. So when we say value driven, what we mean is understand what your high level business goals are. So you take your top business goals, you marry that up with what part of your system is inhibiting those goals, and you start there. So I'll give an example. So we had one customer that was looking to break into the e-commerce space. So they were more of a traditional retailer, manufacturing. They wanted to get into the e-commerce space. They had an old legacy CRM that was making it very difficult to do that. The access to the data they needed for their e-commerce website, they had to go into this big tangled mess. It was very difficult to get at, so they weren't able to innovate very quickly. So what we said was, rather than replacing your entire CRM, let's focus on what is the goal you're trying to achieve, okay? That's creating a brand new e-commerce website, right? And then what we asked was, okay, what do we need out of this CRM in order to accomplish that goal? Well, one thing was we needed to be able to provide sales data. We needed to get product data. We needed to be able to actually capture and process the sale itself. So what we did was we abstracted away that part of the system, built it new so that the e-commerce site could very easily get access to that data and do the things that it needed to do. And so now what we've done is we've started our modernization effort while also bringing a new product to market that meets the business goals bottom line, right? And so the next thing that you do is, what is the next business goal? What is the next value you'd be getting from replacing this? And peel off another layer, peel off another layer, peel off another layer, until all of a sudden, I guess the CRM's in jail. But what we're saying is that we've moved away from that, right? The traditional way of doing it, I think the traditional way and the mistake that people think is we have to go CRM, get rid of it, and build our net new ecosystem, and that takes far longer, and that time that you're spent doing this migration is time not spent meeting your business goal, right? Impacting your bottom line. There's a ton of other benefits you're going to see. For example, a traditional ecosystem has hundreds, if not thousands, of different components to it, right? And if we're saying we want to modernize all of this, if you try to do it all at once, that's going to take a long time. But let's say, for example, you modernize this, you modernize this, you modernize this. You've added to the bottom line of your business is growing, you're accomplishing the goals you set out for. And then what you might realize is some of these things down here, they don't really impact the business. there's maybe one, maybe two people that are using these applications, whatever it is. So why spend the time, particularly up front, modernizing that when you can focus on the high value initiatives? Taking this big bang approach and specifically not thinking about the value that you're trying to achieve is the number one reason that we see modernization efforts fail. Now, the second side of it is the data side, and I was a little bit vague initially, but let me talk about that. So there will be situations where you have some legacy system. Let's continue to use our CRM example. And you are going to want to bring on your new CRM system. Well, if you take the value-driven approach, like we talked about, you're going to be slowly migrating use cases away from here and starting to build the net new use cases here. Now, the thing to keep in mind, and the problem that we see people run into, is it's very easy to think, like I said, about what the net new CRM is going to do, what the new processes, what the new workflow, what the new value is going to be. It's also easy to think about what this brand new architecture is going to be in a silo. What's not easy, and what it takes a lot of care, is understanding, okay, how am I going to start leveraging this new CRM while still maintaining the old processes that exist before I slowly migrate them away? There's lots of different parts of your business that are going to be relying on your CRM, right? So there's going to be sales is relying on it for, marketing. Marketing is going to be relying on it, your marketing department. Maybe your inventory management system has some aspect of the CRM that it's either giving or retrieving data from. So what you're trying to do is migrate these new applications to the new CRM with the new capabilities, slowly, one at a time. But these are still going to be existing. So the key is making sure that the data here is in sync with the data here. And the way you do that is, that's really, we've talked about a lot in our material and in a lot of these talks, is this idea of a data hub, this event-driven approach to your data. So the idea is that as the new CRM is publishing or receiving information, that should all be within your data hub. So that information can be sent and received by the various parts of your system, and you don't have to care about what's in here, right? You have the old CRM and you have the new CRM. They are publishing data out, they are receiving data, and none of the rest of your system does not have to care about where that's originating from. So you're abstracting away the data that is important from the system as a whole, so that these things don't need to care about that. And then ultimately you can slowly migrate away while keeping these two data sources in sync. So that's kind of the high level. It's really about, you have to take a value-driven approach, and you have to be very conscious about how your data is going to look when you have old world and new world up and running at the same time. Because if you're gonna take this value-driven approach, you're gonna be in that situation. And ultimately how we solve for that, it's integration and it's an event-driven architecture, which ultimately rolls up into this idea of a data hub.